Hi, I'm Renée McLaughlin, and welcome to this episode of the Body Harmonics podcast. I'm so happy you're here. So, today in this episode, I wanted to share with you sort of the evolution of my empowered strength flow class. So, I started this strength flow class as a way to give us women an alternative to lifting weights as the only way to really help us gain strength so that we could continue to go through our lifetimes with vitality and longevity, right? So we know that it's really important to keep up our strength, especially our leg strength, because that's how we really power through our life and we get down and up off the chair and off the floor. So it is really important. But there are so many doctors and fitness experts, and they're all really citing all this science that's going on that really shows how important it is for us women to build and maintain our muscles and our strength. And they're always talking now about not only do you need to do that, but you need to lift heavy. And that's the way you're going to get the very best results. So I'm not going to refute any of that. The science is clear that that's important. But I think that that's also not the only way to do it. And maybe for a lot of us, not even necessarily the best way. So I always like to start these conversations off with saying, listen, if you are lifting weights and lifting heavy and you're feeling great in your body and empowered and strong, keep doing it. It's wonderful. Then you found something that works for you. And we all know that there's no one thing of anything that is right for all of us when it comes to health. And this is definitely one of them. I've worked with a lot of women, and a lot of us over time, we have times in our life when we just don't have the time or give ourselves the time to do our weight training or strength training or even any movement. So let's say you haven't even been moving at all. And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, I know that I have to put some movement into my body. Let me get some weights and start working. No, it's way too much for the body. What happened to me was I had not been lifting weights for a really long time. I actually, right before I stopped teaching all the time, in my membership class, I actually, because of the science, decided, let me add some strength training. I mean, the science is clear, you need to do this. So I started following and training a little bit with an excellent woman. I mean, this woman really teaches trainers how to work with women to add strength training to the regime, etc. So I knew how to do it. I was doing it with good form. And it was about, I think it was like a 12-week program. I did it twice a week, and we all came on and did that. And twice a week was fine. I wasn't really lifting heavy, but it was a nice routine. Um, and then I kind of let that go after I stopped teaching. But I needed something that I could do that was going to be really efficient, because I stopped teaching really because I needed to take care of both my aging parents. And those of you who have been in that situation knows that can be quite time consuming. So I also didn't have a lot of time. And I thought, well, let me do the one most efficient thing, which is do some weight training. So I did. And you know what I found is I would get just really sore and sore for a couple of days. And okay, I understand the whole idea. You're breaking down the tissue and then it builds back up. I mean, I know all that. But still, you guys, I didn't really want to be all that sore in my body all the time. Okay, so we'll put that aside. But here's what really got me. I was feeling more and more stiff, and like I had to stretch and do, get on the floor and constantly be moving and stretching more than ever before. And I know, because I am kind of the stretch queen, I know lots of different techniques for doing the stretch, and I was doing those. And then I was like, well, you know what? In the end, now I'm doing the weight training because it's efficient, but then I have to offset it, over here with that constant stretching. So a little while ago, I thought, it's time. I'm really just feeling the need to get back and start, sharing some movement. And so I started just playing with my own work. And, I look around and I kind of see who different people were doing, people that I respond to and respect. And all of a sudden, I kind of just got this hit. You know what? Why can't we use our own bodies for strength training? Now, yes, I know, you can just kind of do sit-ups and push-ups. Oh yeah, all that works. You're using body weight, and body weight does build it. I did the original bar classes, and absolutely the bar works beautifully. I love that. I still love that technique and highly recommend it. And we use it actually in the empowered strength class, because you're working deep, small, tiny muscles. And that's really what brings and cinches up your core. Love all that. And then I thought to myself, all right, why can't we use self resistance? And I'll just give you an example. Like if you put your hands in here and you pull, and then just start moving, right? Just keep doing that and feeling into the body. What does your body want to do with that? And I would just start, and I'd go slowly and really use mindfulness, because a lot of this work is mindful, going slowly and noticing what's happening in your body. Fascia, hello, say hello to your fascia, and how it all moves and shifts and changes, and doing it in a flow. I loved it, and it felt really good in my body. And when you do it and you're really pulling and you're going slow, and then you engage the muscles and all of your body in this whole thing, you know what you're going to notice? With the breath, by the way, because breath is all so part of it. What you're going to start to notice is your heart rate goes up, and you can really feel those muscles. Something is happening. And what I started to really recognize is, not only does this create strength and yes, cut muscles, but it's also actually working more muscles with the same movements at the same time, and you're doing it functionally. And so as I did that, and then I thought, well, what happens if you kind of do it with a lot of resistance, and then slowly start, when the muscles feel like they're kind of fatigued, start to reduce that resistance and reduce it and reduce it, and then kind of stop. That's a type of what we call in somatics pandiculation. And then just stop and notice. And oh my goodness, what happens is you do get strong, you work all the muscles, but functionally. And when you use that pandiculation, you're now also training the muscles to relax at the end. So you're not sore the next day, even though you've really worked. You end the class, you know that you worked out, you can feel your muscles, but you're energized. You're not exhausted, which is what used to happen to me. Because when I would do any of that weight training, even if I wouldn't do it a lot or all that intense, I could tell I was getting an adrenal hit. And most of us have quite a bit of adrenal fatigue because we're all stressed out, right? So this really solved so many of these issues. Here's the other thing it solves. Again, when you have it moved and you're stiff, you also get a lot of specific movement dysfunctioning patterning, and you get a lot of muscle imbalance. And so when you have muscle imbalance and you start putting weights at the end of these extremities, you can really create some issues. I'll just put it that way. But when you're doing it yourself, and you're creating your own resistance, slowly moving around, you can start to feel, oh, you know what, like that side is a little bit stiffer. How about if I work a little bit more here than here? So you're actually creating your own self-resistance program. So even we can all be doing it together in a class, but each of us are going to our own pace. What my 80% pull is for me with my strength, you might not have the same level of strength. Maybe you're just starting out. So the amount of strength you're using for 80% is going to be perfect for you. So I recognized that this was really adaptable for everyone. You could just be coming in, or you could be a somebody who is an advanced exerciser, and it would still work the same way and feel beautiful. Now, I got a lot of these techniques and thoughts, etc., from one of my dear mentors, Teresa Tapp, as she was always talking about muscle. Her term was muscle activation. And a lot of this, is all based on that. The one thing about T-TAP that I wanted to evolve is that was very form based, like according to Teresa anyway, it was a very specific form and you followed the form, and it was a little more regimented, and there wasn't a lot of flowy moves. And maybe on the floor she had some more of those, and some of the most beautiful work, her fascia fitness floor, was much more, because floor work is anyway much more, can be a flow, but standing there wasn't a lot of flow. And I just recognize now that the body works in our DNA, we'll just even say that everything in the cosmos is these spirals, right? It's fractal. And our DNA are these double helix spirals. And so when you spiral and work in this type of movement as much as possible, the body loves it. And it really resonates with that. In fascia work, the more you can spiral and twist and turn and shear that, the better work that you're going to have. And the better you're going to feel. And it just feels so good. You can tell I get excited when I talk about this. So all that to say, I shared this empowered flow, strength flow, around April, May. And I did about 4 classes, and I had quite a few of our ladies, the family, on to work out with me. And the feedback was wonderful. And everybody was like, okay, you're going to keep teaching? What are you going to do? And what ended up happening was I had to stop for a while because I went on a long trip. And during that trip, oh my goodness, my body got really locked up for many reasons. And when I came back from that trip, I was in bad shape. I was in bad shape with my digestion. I was in bad shape physically. It all just, I contracted a lot. I was going through some different, even personal transformations. I know I've shared all this with you all before. And I actually did a somatic on the floor, some fascia work, to relief and to help the digestive tract. And definitely it did help me. Got to be honest, it didn't completely resolve it. And I just kept thinking, all right, if I do it long enough, right, and continue, it was going to shift, and it might have. But as I was doing this, I'm like, okay, let's see, it might be time to kind of, let's re-engage and get some classes going again. But I wasn't quite ready. And I'm so glad, because lo and behold, I had this desire and intention to find something else. What is really going to help me with this digestion to release? Bottom line is TMI. I couldn't poop. It just was. I was holding on to a lot of crap, you guys. That's just basically what happened. And I was led to, which is how I find a lot of wonderful, wonderful things. That's one of my little gifts, I think, is I can just find stuff, really cool stuff. So I found this work through an incredible website called The Human Garage. I hate that name. I know where it comes from, but it makes no sense to me. Anyway, and I just happened to see them, and it's a very robust YouTube channel. I mean, they are giving away everything, all the secrets, but they had a 15-minute fascia stress reset. And I don't even know why. I'm like, all right, let me just try it. So I get in and I start working. I'm like, what are these people doing with the fascia? Oh my gosh, I Loved it. I loved it. And after I finished that 15 minutes, all of a sudden I hear a bit of gurgling down here. I ran myself to the bathroom, and let's just say, whoo, it was a delight. And I was like, wow, there is something to this. What's going on with this? So, as I do when I find something I love with the whole obsession, I've now done it probably about, oh, more than, well, I did the 28 days, but I had done 7 up before then. So anyway, I've been doing it like daily, and I went through their program, and they just keep adding to it. It's just incredibly well done. And I learned a lot, and I'm playing, and actually, there's a lot of empowered strength flow in it that we can incorporate. So, the 15-minute stress release, the whole idea behind this is they are putting you in, and these are standing moves, you're not on the floor. Very specific movement that twists and turns and really works beautifully with the fascia in spirals, along with the breath, all the things that I know work, but they put it in this just beautiful way, and they incorporated some embryology. And anyway, I'll get into more of that kind of part of it in another episode, but it's fabulous. And what they have proven, and they have because they have done like brain tests, brainwave tests, they've tested this really extensively, is that when you do this 15 minutes, it reduces the stress and tension in your body, fascia, about 80%. I mean, how amazing is that? Because what is behind all of so much, I'm going to say all of, but I'll qualify, so much of our chronic conditions, the underlying is the stress. And with that stress is all of our unprocessed, unintegrated, repressed emotions and trauma. Where is all that stuff held? Hello, in the fascia, right? In the tissue. And so as you're doing this work, you're unwinding and you're releasing so much of this stuff and emotion and trauma that's held in the body. Love, love, love it. Okay, so I thought to myself, knowing what I know about stress and having to release this fascia and really work with it, wouldn't it be interesting to combine at least the first move in that 15-minute release, because I think that really does the majority of it. And then once you've released the stress, then we can go in and do more of the self resistance and the pandiculation. It's kind of like, combining all this wonderful, juicy stuff in a specific sequence and see what happens. See how we feel in our body. I like to create or kind of call this a co creation, right? Because each of us are in our own bodies. And it's really time now for us to really sink down out of our brain and into this body and really experience from a slow, mindful breath and movement intention to see how to have a conversation with our bodies and to start to sink down from living all the time in this crazy brain that's never making us happy into our bodies where we really belong, grounded, with all this new super high frequency coming onto this planet. I know a lot of us are just feeling really like, what's going on? And really incorporate all this in a way that can really help us heal. I hate even using the words heal ourselves because, we're not broken, but maybe just to connect into our bodies in a whole different way. and start to really enjoy the movement and look forward to it and create our own movement self-care routine that we can just do anytime. Yeah, I'm going to have a couple of, like, at least 2 live classes in the month. I'm doing it for any and all of my paid Substack subscribers, so I'll leave a link if you'd like to do that. $5 a month. Come in and experience, right? We'll do it together. You'll kind of get a sense of the method. And then, goodness, you can put together your own in the day. This is what I do after I'm done sitting at my computer or whatever, and I want to get up. I just start. I'll just start going, oh God, that just feels good. I'll get down into a squat and I'll move, or I'll just get on YouTube and I'll either follow one of my strength classes or follow a human garage, and it just feels so good. I'll tell you what else I really love to do is put on some beautiful music, take a nice deep breath, feel what I'm feeling in the body, and then just begin moving like that. Maybe doing some of the 15-minute just to kind of understand where I'm at in my body, and then just start to move. And isn't that feel so much better than picking up a bunch of metal and hauling it up and down? Again, if you love that, I understand, because there is something really empowering for a woman, right? Yes, I'm strong. I just lifted all this weight. But you know what? I'd love to have strength, but strength with flow. So if this intrigues you at all, I'd love to have you join me with the new and improved and evolving empowered strength flow. So I'll leave all the information down below, and I'd love to hear your comments about how this sounds to you, and if you've actually been somebody who's been playing with me on this. Again, what's your experience? What is it you're looking for? How do you want to feel in your body going forward? So with that, I'm going to end this by saying, move freely, heal deeply, and flow with ease. Take good care, and hopefully I'll see you soon.